Guys, what's up? It's Castle. How are you guys doing today? We're looking at the North Pole. Now, the North Pole is actually a melee weapon, which when I heard the North Pole, I just thought it was oh, that's magic. Yeah, definitely. So I go put on my magic set and then go look for it in my chest, and I find out it's a melee weapon. So now I have my melee, and it's a staff, and it is a lance. Sorry, not a staff, and it will actually do damage as well as fire a projectile that actually arcs, as you can see here. So it is pretty strong. Also, these actually do damage, as you can see there. So if we were looking at this, you could legitimately spam it up there and just rain down on enemies, which is actually really good for getting rid of hordes, as it will hit all your enemies. So, unfortunately though, this will not go through walls, unlike the legendary Death Sickle from a different video, which was also a melee weapon. It won't actually go through walls, but the accuracy of the North Pole's spear is actually can go through a 2-block hole, like most other projectiles in Terraria, aside from bullets. Obviously, now it will actually go through 2 enemies, and it will stop at the 3rd and still do damage, but I still think it'd be maybe just a little bit more useful just to spam above the enemy, or spam at their heads. That way, as you can see, if I actually go back down here and I hit him, you can see it actually does 2 damage, which signifies that the North Pole beam actually hit the dummy, and then the snowflake actually appeared as it hit the dummy, dealing 2 different damage sources, which is actually really good if you think about it. It statistically should be very good at stopping hordes and protecting yourself, as it does have very strong knockback, and you can fire these at a very fast speed as well. Every time the blades of the pole go back, then you can hit it again, but it is single hit, so you do have to hit it. Now, with the godly prefix or modifier or whatever, it will do a 113 melee damage, which is very high in itself. And yeah, it's actually really good with 28% chance. So every 3 hits, one of those hits will at least be a critical hit, and shoots an icy spear that rains snowflakes, which the snowflakes also do damage. So pros for this weapon. 1 pro for this weapon: it's a lance, and you can attack from a range, which is always good in Terraria, I find. I really don't like to use swords in the game. Not that I have anything against them, because I still use the Terra Blade and all of the other swords. But I'll only use swords that fire projectile, because the sword, while it does have extremely high knockback, you should only be using the sword's attack, in my opinion. You should only be using the sword's damage as a last resort, or if the enemy is too close to you. So that's just my personal opinion. 1 con for the weapon is that, while it does have pretty fast speed, if you miss, as you can see, if I fire, actually we'll go up here to show it better, we'll say, if the enemy is really close and you need to like get 2 hits off to deal double knockback, the snowflakes will only appear after around 10 blocks, I want to say. After 10 blocks, then the snowflakes will start to appear, as well as the icy javelin will also appear after 10 blocks, which is not always good, but due to the fact that the North Pole alone, without the projectile, does have pretty high damage, I think you should be okay. But that's the only con. If you do need to damage an enemy and it's too close, it won't deal that amount of damage that you would as if you were attacking a medium to long range opponent. So that's my personal thoughts on the North Pole, and I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Castle, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.